Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
Senate President Escudero firmly rejected claims linking him to a top flood control contractor, calling it a malicious demolition job.
Vice President Sara Duterte is now set to comment on the House's motion for reconsideration, which seeks to overturn the ruling on her impeachment case.
A recent social weather station survey shows that nearly 12 million Filipino families consider themselves poor.
The PLDT high-speed hitters and Cherry Tigo crossovers will clash for the PVL on Tour crown this Sunday.
First in the news, Senate President Escudero has denied allegations linking him to a top flood control contractor, calling it a malicious demolition job against him. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes reports.
The Senate has officially begun its committee hearings and continued its plenary sessions. Also part of the matters being discussed, flood control projects in the country and the need to assert accountability for its failures. Malicious, ill-timed, and a demolition job. This is how Senate President Escudero described a recently circulating article linking him to contractor Lawrence Lubiano of the Centerway Construction and Development Inc., who reeled in 5.16 billion worth of flood control projects from 2021 to 2024. Lubiano was also Escudero's top campaign donor in the 2022 elections, donating 30 million pesos to his campaign funds. Escudero, however, answered the allegation. He was indeed acquainted and friends with Lubiano, but does not have anything to do with the firm's deals.
Hindi ako bahagi na anumang negosyo kaugnay sa construction o supply sa pamahalaan mula nung pumasok ako sa gobyerno noong 1998. Sa katunayan, yung mas malaking bahagi ng pondong di umano nakuha nung kontratistang tiga Sorsogon ay nakuha niya bago pa ako naging senador muli noong 2022.
Escudero also claims someone from the House of Representatives is behind the demolition job.
Obvious naman siguro yun kung sino yung pinaka may gusto ng impeachment.
Yung nasa likod ng demolition job,
Oo
SP,
naman.
ay taga-house.
Di ba nga nung nakarang linggo naman may video nilabas sa akin sa house at kung ano nung innuendo at insinuation na naman ang pinalabas.
Meanwhile, on the first hearing of the Senate Committee on Basic Education, it was revealed that a classroom costs an average of 1.5 to 2 million pesos under partnerships between LGUs and the private sector, much lesser compared to the 2.5 to 3.8 million average costs of classrooms built by the Departments of Education and Public Works and Highways. Constructing classrooms was also seen quicker when done under LGU private sector partnerships in only less than a year, whereas national government agencies take years to accomplish such projects. Chairperson Senator Bam Aquino therein stressed the weight of classroom construction backlogs waiting to be finished.
Yung pagwawaldas ng pera sa edukasyon dapat walang puwang sa lipunan natin. Dahil hindi lang eskwelahan ang yaanakawan, kung hindi pangarap ng mga kabataan at mga pamilya na naghahangad lang na may anak silang makapagtapos.
Also during yesterday's plenary session, the Senate adopted Senator Sherwin Gatchalian's sponsored concurrent resolution number 4, seeking to strengthen the national budget process by ensuring public access to information and allowing citizen participation in the deliberations of the 2025 General Appropriations Act. With this, the Senate and House of Representatives are expected to upload to its websites digital and readable copies of important documents such as transcripts of budget briefings, hearings, meetings, deliberations, as well as finance reports on the General Appropriations Bill. The Department of Budget and Management will also be urged later on to upload copies of the budget preparation forms it has received from government agencies in their project proposals.
We're completing the entire cycle, Mr. President. So with this resolution, we are now publishing information that will help the public analyze the budget, hopefully make suggestions, even criticisms.
Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes, we are One News.
Senator Kiko Pangilinan has been named the new chairman of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes, replacing Senator Robin Hood Padilla. In this key position, Pangilinan will lead the thorough review and discussion of proposed changes to the country's constitution. He vowed to keep the entire process transparent, inclusive, and consultative. Pangilinan stressed that any constitutional changes must truly represent the aspirations of best interest of the Filipino people. Aside from heading the Committee on Constitutional Amendments, he also chairs the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Food, and Agrarian Reform.
For more updates from the Senate, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, ano na latest?
Magandang umaga sa inyo. Ngayong oras na ito, aasahan na natin magsisimula naman ang Senate Committee on Migrant Workers hearing na pangungunahan niya ni Chairperson Senator Raffy Tulfo. At yung ilan sa mga inaasahan nating mapag-uusapan ngayon ay yung Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act, OFW Financial Literacy and Education, yung mga polisiya at regulation ng Department of Migrant Workers patungkol sa deployment nito ng Filipino seafarers, pati na rin yung management and use ng funds netong mga ahensya. Yung ilan sa mga nakita na natin, nagkumpirma na resource persons na pupunta ay magmumula sa Department of Migrant Workers, Overseas Workers sa Welfare Administration, sina Admin Patricia Ibon Caunan, sina Attorney Jasmine Gapatan, even from the Department of Foreign Affairs na si Yusek Eduardo de Vega at Yusek Leo Herrera, aasahan nating dadalo ngayong araw. Mula rin sa ibang mga pribadong organisasyon o entities ay nandito rin pupunta, pati ang DICT, PCG, at ilang mga management agencies tulad na lamang ng Royal Caribbean Crew Management Incorporated at Open Sea Agency na inaasahang magbabahagi ng kanilang mga kaalaman, even mga updates patungkol sa kung paano nila minamanage itong ating mga migrant workers. Balik sa inyo.
Merimon, may narinig ka bang balita about yung first order of business ng Blue Ribbon Committee? Kasi may usap-usapan that they might take a look into the arrest of former President Duterte.
Sa ngayon, inaabangan pa natin yung mabibigay nilang impormasyon tungkol dyan. Kasi so far for this week, ang pinaka-nakaschedule pa lang is yung basic education nung isang araw. Ngayon naman, itong Committee on Migrant Workers. And then tomorrow, yung Games and Amusement Senate Committee hearing naman. So possibly, kung yan yung nakikita natin itong mga lumipas na araw, maaaring lumabas talaga ito sa magiging mga unang pag-uusapan o tatalakayin ng Blue Ribbon Committee.
Merimon, baka naman perhaps you can tell us also if there's a story behind it, yung dun sa pagpapalit ng chairmanship ng Committee on Constitutional Amendments na it was Senator Robin Hood Padilla before, replaced by Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Oo, tama yan. Pagdating kasi dito, ang nasabi sa atin ni Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva, pagdating dito sa mga natitira, even yung Committee on Ethics pa nga, Constitutional Amendments, pinag-uusapan naman daw nila to. Noong una, ang nababanggit talaga si Senator Robin Padilla, bukas daw siya dito. Even for the Committee on Ethics, siya parang nag-open kung baka kakailanganin din dito sa mga committee na to ng abogado kasi nga medyo sensitibo yung mga tatalakayin nitong mga issue o mga matter related sa institusyon, sa ethics, sa batas. Pero nagkaroon na rin ng paglulutang ng pangalan nga na even si Senator Kiko Pangilinan bukas din kung sakali naman. So far hanggang dun pa lang yung detalyeng binigay niya sa atin, pero ang malinaw naman dito since si Senator Robin Padilla rin naman ang tatayo bilang vice chairperson nitong komite alongside sina Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Rodante Marcoleta as committee members, magkakaroon naman daw ng consultation efforts sa loob ng mga miyembro and itong mga chairperson plus resource persons outside para raw mas maayos yung ipapalaganap nila kung sakali man magkakaroon ng pagtatalakay sa konstitusyon.
Okay, so a few hours ago, there's also a report that Senator Camille Villar is calling for a Senate inquiry doon sa rising cases ng leptospirosis. May mga nakikita tayo kasi online na mga diskusyon tungkol dito. Others are saying na while we understand and we recognize yung importance nga dahil mataas ang kaso ngayon ng leptospirosis, pero sinasabi nila having a Senate inquiry on this would delay also yung action sa kailangan gawin ng DOH as of this moment.
Oo, kasama din dyan, napag-usapan din kahapon doon sa plenaryo nga nung na-open itong pinaka-call nila for budget transparency and for accountability nila Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Kasama na rin dyan yung pag-iimbestiga nga dito sa mga flood control projects at kung gaano nga ba kalaki yung naging impact nito. Hindi lang pagdating sa gastusin ng bansa, yung taxes daw ng mga tao, kundi yung implication at yung impact din nito. For example, tungkol nga dyan sa leptospirosis, marami na rin mga ospital ngayon, even clinics ang nagkakaproblema dahil ang dami ng mga pasyente na pumapasok sa mga ito. So posible talaga sa mga susunod na linggo pagka nagsimula na rin yung mga committee hearings sa ibang mga komite, maaaring matalakay na rin ito. Kaya gusto rin nila ngayon na magkaroon ng mas malinaw at ibukas sa publiko na impormasyon o update para malaman nga ng mga tao kung saan nga ba napupunta ang budget nila at kung nagiging epektibo ba ito para sa mga mamamayan.
Well, all right. We will continue to get in touch with you dun sa mga mangyayari pa dyan sa Senado. For the meantime, maraming salamat sa iyo. Our mobile journalist, Mary Mondreyes, reporting live from the Senate.
Let's now head over, Angel.
Yeah, to the House of Representatives for updates. We have mobile journalist Amy Atienza reporting live on the ground. Amy, tell us what's happening there.
Angela, Diego, a lot of things are going to happen nga dito sa House of Representatives. At una na nga dyan ay yung magkakaroon sila ng film screening ng pelikulang Food Delivery kung saan ipinapakita nga nito yung pamumuhay ng isang fisherfolk na nakalagi sa Pilipinas, at dito nga rin matatalakay kung ano nga ba yung mga paghihirap na pinagdaanan nila pagdating nga sa mga intervention ng China sa West Philippine Sea. At bukod pa dyan, syempre ngayong 10 a.m. maabangan din natin may budget turnover dito sa House of Representatives. At bukod pa dyan, meron din tayong hearing sa Committee on Dangerous Drugs. Dito makakasama natin ang NBI, PNP, pati na rin Padilla para nga magkaroon ng konting briefing nga lang sa kung ano yung mangyayari at magiging takbo ng Committee on Dangerous Drugs sa 20th Congress. Mamayang hapon naman, abangan natin yung hearing naman ng Committee on Public Accounts at patuloy pa rin na pag-uusapan dito sa House of Representatives yung mga flood control projects kasama ang DPWH sa pangunguna yan ni Representative Terry Ridon. So patuloy lang tayong aantabay sa kung ano nga bang mangyayari dito pa sa House, pero yan so far yung mga activities na aabangan natin for today. Angela, Diego.
Amy, dun sa nabanggit mo na TRICOM hearing to be headed by Representative Terry Ridon, would you know kung sino na yung mga naimbitahan na resource persons dyan? Would you know if Congressman Zaldico would also talk there? Kasi nasa gitna siya ngayon ng kontrobersiya dito nga sa mga flood control projects na to, doon sa apparently yung isa sa mga contractors na nilabas sa audit report ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ay may konektado sa kanya.
Well, so far wala pa tayo talaga ng final list kung sino nga ba yung invited, pero napag-usapan na rin kasi dito sa House of Representatives yung mga kongresista rin na naging involved dun nga sa mga flood control projects na ginawa sa kanilang area. So far, abangan din natin nga kung magsasalita na si Representative Zaldico. So, titingnan natin kung magkakaroon nga ba siya ng insight. Pero so far naman, halos lahat din naman talaga ng mga...
Amy, nawawala yung audio mo. Nawawala si Amy. Amy, are you still there? Can you hear us?
Nawala audio.
Oo, nawala audio ni Amy. Ayun nga kasi inaantay natin yung usapin na yun, dahil nga nalilink itong si Representative Zaldico being former chairman ng Committee on Appropriations dito sa ilang mga flood control projects, saying na, well, he divested 2019, in the year 2019, pero ang dami mga nagsasabi he is still well involved doon sa mga proyekto daw, allegedly. So yun ang nakikita natin na dapat din bigyan ng pansin, 'di ba? Amy?
Yes, hello.
Yun. All right, you were saying?
Yes, ayun nga. Katulad na nasabi ko kanina, patuloy lang din ang mga nagbibigay din ng invite sa House of Representatives. Pati na nga rin yung mga ini-invite naman ay nag-show up dito. Katulad na nga lang nung briefing kasama ang DPWH kung saan nagbigay naman si Representative Terry Ridon ng mga posibleng ang pag-usapan kasama ang DPWH dito sa mga hearings na mangyayari sa Committee on Public Accounts. And yun nga, so far, talaga nga namang open kasi yung discussion dito sa House of Representatives pagdating nga dyan sa flood control projects. So titingnan natin kasi most likely lang din naman talaga ay inaabangan nila ang compliance ng ilan sa mga sangkot na representatives dito nga sa mga proyektong itatalakay.
Amy, how about yung yung mga versions kasi regarding online gambling, no? Matagal na natin pinag-uusapan to, yung madaming versions lumalabas from different congressmen. Some are for total ban, some are for regulation. May narinig ka ba kung may nag-uusap-usap dyan na magko-consolidate sila para pag nag-push na yung hearing, medyo madali na lang ang hearing?
Request everyone to please settle down.
Yung naririnig pagdating sa online gambling. Pero naging usap-usapan na rin naman talaga yan dito sa House of Representatives. May ilan na nga rin kasi nga miyembro ng Kamara ang nagsabing magpa-file din daw sila ng bills patungkol nga sa online gambling. Pero kasi Diego, yung nagiging malaking usap-usapan rin kasi rito ay kung magkakaroon nga lang ba ng restrictions sa online gambling o magkakaroon ba ng total ban sa online gambling. So discussion pa yan dito sa Kamara. So inaabangan natin kung ano nga ba yung mga mangyayari pa patungkol nga sa issue ng online gambling. Pero so far, agenda for today talaga ay yung sa flood control projects ng DPWH.
Talagang mahaba-habang usapin yung mga flood control projects na yan. Was wondering, Amy, last na on my part, meron ka bang naririnig dyan na usapin na maaaring mag-discuss ba ang Senado at ang Kongreso privately? Kasi we all know naman allegations have been made, 'di ba? Shades have been thrown dito sa dalawang kampo na to at parang hindi naman nagiging maganda 'yan sa mata ng mga publiko. Meron ka bang balita tungkol doon?
Well, so far, ang nangyayari dito, gusto lang daw kasi muna mag-focus din ng House of Representatives sa kanilang duties and responsibilities. Pero most likely, dahil nga paulit-ulit na rin naman nilang sinasabi rito na nire-respeto nila kung ano man nga yung magiging desisyon ng Senado, most likely open din sila sa possible discussions na magkakameron nga. At kung babalikan lang din naman natin yung usapang impeachment, iniintay pa kasi ng House of Representatives dito yung magiging response din ng Office of the Vice President patungkol nga dun sa kanilang motion for consideration at kung tungkol naman nga dun sa archival, parang at dun sa naging pag-atake nga rin kay House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, talagang hinayaan na lang muna nila. Pero kung magkakaroon naman, most likely open ang House of Representatives dyan and possible na magkaroon nga ng discussions on other matters din patungkol nga naman sa budget.
Alright, maraming salamat, mobile journalist Amy Atienza.
The proposed national budget for 2026 is now being turned over to the House of Representatives. Now let's listen in.
May we now request our House leaders and DBM officials on stage to kindly take their seats. Good morning. We warmly welcome you to the ceremonial turnover of the National Expenditure Program for fiscal year 2026. Let us begin our program with the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by the invocation led by Ms. Dominic B. Valdez, and then the singing of the Bagong Pilipinas hymn. May we request everyone to please stand.
Bayang mag-iiw, perlas ng singanganan, hanap ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil.
All right, what we're seeing is, of course, yung
Ceremonial
turnover of the
National Expenditure Program for the year of 2026.
That's right,
So it's budget season, and
Again.
dito magkakasubukan nga if this is really the year and time for transparency, accountability, and
As promised.
truth, as promised nga by
we all
the
know,
administration.
kasi this is in response to what happened last budget deliberations
Yes.
of last year na medyong controversial.
Oh, it is controversial.
kasi-
Sabi nga nila, most corrupt budget in the Philippine history.
Hindi nga.
Okay. Di sabi nila.
Oh.
They said that.
Di, joke
yeah.
lang kita.
But
Yeah.
of course, dahil nakita nga natin din yung mga ibang mga cuts ng budgets, even the Department of Education's budget was cut also, PhilHealth's budget was slashed as well. When in fact, sa Constitution natin, nakalagay doon, dapat pinakamataas na budget ay yung mga sa education sector.
And even no less than the presidential sisters sa Senado,
Yeah.
sa part ng Senate, called the last year's budget one of the most corrupt
Yeah.
she's seen in history, and which is for the sister, no less than the president, saying that medyo mabigat, may weight kasi yan. Supposedly, ang accusations is madaming daw insertions from the actual agreed upon to the draft. Nagkaroon ng dagdag ng project na hindi alam ng ibang congressman saan nanggaling.
That's why this year, sabi nga nila, there will be, yung proposal will come into fruition na maging open yung BICAM kasi tapos tatanggalin din hopefully yung sinasabi ni Congressman Toby Tiangco, yung small committee. Because according to him, allegedly, doon sa small committee, doon nangyayari yung mga hocus-pocus, 'di ba, ng mga budget committee. Kasi naiintindihan nila, napakalaki, napakadami ng pages ng mga budgets na yan. So, parang they would assign 4 congressmen para dun sa small committee to reassess the whole budget. Tapos biglang tsaka na ipapasa sa 'di ba, for kung ang tawag dito, kung hindi magkasundo ang for BICAM, no? Pag hindi magkasundo ang Senado for BICAM, kung hindi nila i-adapt yung resolution ng iba't ibang mga so for
Sabi nga
budget.
nila, yung this sa Congress, sa lower house, the makeup of the Congress is 70% the same from the 19th Congress. So with that daw, bakit ngayon lang naisipan yung maging mas transparent, 'di ba? What happened daw na
Yes.
what happened na ba't di nyo ginawa before? 'Di ba? Oo nga, better
Tagal
late-
na nun ang tagal na may call talaga for transparency, yung open BICAM, makikita ng tao. Ngayon, isa pa sa mga sinuggest ni Speaker Martin Romualdez is to allow organization, yung mga advocates, yung mga budget advocates to listen in also, to go inside the Congress para mapakinggan nila yung ongoing na pagpaprocess nitong budget na to.
Pero alam mo, no matter how transparent you can you get, yung ang issue naman kasi is insertions eh. Yung insertions hindi naman nangyayari sa deliberations and hearings.
Hindi. Yun nga yung small committee na sinasabi.
Even out of the small committee, ang insertion nangyayari pagda-draft. Sa printing ng draft, doon pumapasok.
Ito.
Kunyari, may pinag-usapan tayong budget. Tapos, approve na tayo dyan. Tapos sabihin natin sa secretary, house secretary, i-print mo yung draft. Bago i-print yung draft, may tumatakbo sa secretary. Teka lang, may pinapatagtag si Kong. Palitan natin konti. Okay na ba ito? Approve na yan.
And do you remember, di ba,
pumapasok ang
si
insertion.
former Senate President Franklin Dillon was here also before, and we talked about this, di ba? Yung paano ba yung proseso ng budget natin? Bakit bigla na lang minsan yung mga senador natin nagugulat, bakit ganyan? Ba't hindi ba sila nagbabasa? Yung pala, bigla-bigla na lang daw na nagkakaroon nga ng mga ganun insertion. So, yung stages nito, unang-una, budget plan is drafted ng DBM. Pagkatapos nun, yung presidente natin will submit to the Congress nung kanyang mga dito sa budget natin for this year. And then, the Congress will get it. Ito yung nangyayari ngayon, di ba? House of Representatives through its hearings, and then also sa kabilang panig naman sa Senate hearing, yan yung nangyayari sa parallel review. The next step would be House and Senate pass their versions. So, yun yung, di ba, nagkakaroon ng mga iba't ibang version sa panig ng House of Representatives and then sa panig ng Senate. And then, of course, magkakaroon sila ng BICAM, Bicameral Conference Committee, kung saan itong dalawang houses natin magpupulo, mag-uusap. Supposedly, magkakasundo sila on the budget for the year, di ba? Doon sila magko-consolidate, mag-meet halfway.
Kung nagtatanong ng mga tao, ano ba pakialam nila?
Tapusin ko lang to. Tapos, 7th, final bill goes to the President. Okay, after nun, 8, yung Presidente may signed veto items or return the bill to the Congress.
Last time nakita ko
Next
yung
will be
ugat na yun
signed
eh.
budget becomes law.
Branch
Bakit?
yun eh. Last time nakita.
Hindi, yun yun. Kasi 8 stages para maintindihan natin.
Ito na ito. We have Speaker Romualdez.
Of the 2026 National Expenditure Program from the Department of Budget and Management is not just a formality, it is the first step in shaping how our government will serve the Filipino people in the year ahead. Like every family, we know that every peso must have a purpose. We cannot spend what we do not have, and we must spend wisely on what matters the most. Bawat piso may pinaglalaanan, bawat gastusin dapat may pakinabang sa tao. The net is more than just numbers on paper. It is the government's plan to make the vision of Bagong Pilipinas real. Roads that connect communities, markets where food is affordable, schools that open doors to opportunity, hospitals that save lives, and safe, secure communities for every Filipino. A budget is not just a spending plan, it is a mirror of our priorities and a measure of our accountability to the people. And because this is the people's money, the process of crafting it must be transparent, inclusive, and worthy of public trust. That is why, beginning this year, the House will implement important reforms. First, we will remove the small committee that collated institutional amendments. Bukas ang talakayan, lahat ng amendments alam ng mamamayan. Second, we will open the bicameral conference committee on the budget to the public and to the media. Kung pera ng taong bayan ang pinag-uusapan, dapat taong bayan din ang nakaalam. Third, we will invite civil society, people's organizations, and the private sector to join budget hearings. Ang pambansang budget ay hindi pag-aari ng mga politiko. Ito ay pera ng bawat Pilipinong nagbabayad ng buwis. Fourth, we will strengthen oversight requiring timely reports from agencies and enabling real-time tracking of major projects. Bawat pisong ginastos dapat may katumbas na serbisyong nararamdaman. And fifth, we will prioritize investments that truly change lives. Agriculture for food security, infrastructure for connectivity, and jobs, education for opportunity, health for all, and defense and disaster preparedness for national safety. These reforms are not meant to slow the process. They are meant to make it better, stronger, and more trusted. Kapag malinaw ang proseso, malinaw din ang tiwala. In the coming weeks, we will review every page of the net expenditure program guided by one question. Makakabuti ba ito sa ating mga kababayan? If yes, we will support it. If not, we will work to make it better. A budget that people can trust is a government the people can believe in. Before I close, again, I'd like to welcome with us today the Department of Budget Management Secretary Amina Pangandaman, our Senior Deputy Speaker David Suarez, along with the other Deputy Speakers, we have Horace, our Majority Leader Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, Minority Leader Marcelino Libanan, Committee on Appropriations Chairperson Micaela Swansing, Committee on Appropriations Senior Vice Chairperson Albert Garcia, PLLO Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin, honorable House members and officials, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and mabuhay ang sabay ng Pilipino.
Thank you very much, Speaker Romualdez, for your warm words of welcome. At this point, To give a message and provide us with a briefing on the National Expenditure Program for fiscal year 2026, we invite the Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management, the Honorable Mina F. Pangandaman.
Thank you. Good morning. To House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, Senior Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, Majority Leader Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, Minority Leader Marcelino Libanan, House Committee on Appropriations Chairperson Micaela Angela B. Swansea.
Ayan, you saw the
yes.
speech of Speaker Martin Romualdez for the ceremonial turnover of the 2026 National Expenditure Program. He mentioned there about
his budget transparency reform.
Reform yung mga program one, which is yung opening it to media and the public.
Of course, open bycam.
Open bycam.
Usually
for media
kasi
and public.
traditionally closed doors yan,
And
diba?
to remove the small committee.
Yes.
Kung saan nagsisimula ang
Allegedly doon daw nagkakaroon ng mga nagkakamada ng mga budgets
So,
doon.
bago nila i-broadcast, alam pala nila na na may insertion nangyayari. Ba't di nila napigilan?
Oo nga eh. Oo. Yun ang sabi nila.
Pero these are welcome reforms.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome reforms.
Okay, so again, what you just saw earlier is a tradition or the official turnover of the National Expenditure
And
Program
you saw the House Speaker.
to the House of Representatives. So House Speaker Martin Romualdez
Kicking it off.
gave a short speech on his budget transparency reforms. All right, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. Ramon Tulfo is standing by his claim that a Philippine Heart Center surgeon charged a patient an exorbitant professional fee. The Philippine Medical Association said the doctor billed only 45,000 pesos, not 85,000, as Tulfo alleged, and that the fee was within ethical limits. The Philippine College of Physicians called Tulfo's viral post irresponsible, saying it damaged public trust and unfairly targeted doctors. But Tulfo insists one side is lying, citing the patient's son's account that no operation was done, only wound cleaning. He says without the surgeon's fee, the patient's bill would drop from 139,000 to 25,000 pesos. So these are the two camps are alleging, ito nga yung sinasabi ni Sir Mon Tulfo, no? Saying na 85,000 supposedly yung chinarge daw ng doctor doon sa patient. Sabi naman nung kabilang panig, 45,000 lamang.
Pero okay, i-compute mo, no? Kung wala daw yung surgeon's fee, yung bill na 139, babagsak ng 25. So, kung i-add mo yung 85 na kiniklaim nila, 110 lang. So, saan nanggaling yung 29? Para medyo off yung...
Hindi siya ni-name ni Ramon Tulfo, itong doctor na to. Pero yun nga, kumalit. I remember kasi, I saw some post about it. And even mga doctors are saying, wag tayong mag-post sa wall ni Ramon Tulfo kasi you're just giving him mileage and likes and shares dun sa kung kikita pa daw yung Facebook niya. So, nag-post lang sila sa kanilang page. And they're saying also nasasaktan sila dito sa accusation daw ni Ramon Tulfo, saying na ginagawa naman ng mga doktor yung kanilang makakaya and it's within the ethical limits yung kanilang pagsingil.
Alam ko pag 40-45, that is okay, that is normal use for surgery.
Pero kasi ang sinasabi nga ni Ramon Tulfo, 85,000 yung siningil doon sa
Saka hindi daw surgery, naglinis lang daw ng sugat.
So sinasabi ng mga doctors nga, yung Philippine College of Physicians, sinasabi ng grupo na yon na as much as possible naman, gumagawa kami ng mga, alam na namin yung Hippocratic Oath namin, di ba? Gumagawa kami ng mga public service. So syempre, may mga pagkakataon na we also bill. Syempre sabi nila, hindi na ba kami, may panggastos din kami na kailangan.
Pero sana yung konteksto ng linis ng sugat maayos kasi meron tinatawag yung angiogram, angioplasty. May pinapasok ko lang na tube sa chest area. Tapos pag hinahatak yun, I've seen it kasi daddy ko, tinilinis lang nila. So, if hindi ka sanay, sabihin mo, naglinis ka ng sugat. Yung pala, critical...
Hindi ko rin kasi,
I'm just saying, we need to know the context of ano ba ang ibig mo sabihin na naglilinis ng sugat. What do you mean by that, di ba? Well, let's discuss this further so we have more details. We're joined by Dr. Nemencio Nicodemus Jr., President of the Philippine College of Physicians. Good morning, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, Doc. We need to get to shed more light on this issue. No, ano yung thoughts nyo sa nagiging allegations by Ramon Tulfo regarding the supposedly exorbitant pagsingil daw ng isang surgeon?
Okay. Unang-una, pag pinag-usapan kasi natin ng professional fee ng mga doctors, we have to take into consideration na hindi lamang ito iisang bagay na nagiging pinagbabatayan. Una, pinagbabatayan ng doktor kung ano ba yung procedure na ginawa, lalo na kung merong surgical procedure, definitely mas mataas ito kumpara lang sa ordinary consultation. Number 2, kung gaano kalala yung sitwasyon at kung gaano kagrabe yung sakit ng pasyente, syempre yung pag-aalaga magiging mas intensive kapag ang pasyente ay mas malala ang kondisyon, mas pangit ang kondisyon, at syempre yung level of care na ibibigay din ng doctor mas intensive. Kung kaya naman kumpara sa ordinary consultation lang sa clinic na maaring napaka-stable ng pasyente, mas maraming guguguling panahon at pag-aalaga sa mga naka-admit na pasyente sa ospital.
That's right.
And then of course yung expertise is also being considered by the doctor. At alam naman natin na sa aming profesyon, merong iba sa amin na pinili na maging general doctor. Meron din naman sa amin na pinili na maging specialista, nagdagdag ng mga taon ng pag-aaral para maging dalubhasa sa isang particular na field. And so, lahat ng mga ito, pati yung generally yung location din, nagbabago. So kung ang ating professional fee sa isang metro area, kakaiba kumpara dun sa far-flung areas sa provinces. So marami tayong factors na dapat i-consider. And therefore, pagka pinag-usapan kung magkano ang sinisingil ng doktor, lahat ng ito ay nilalagay sa isang equation. At sa atin, of course, kapag pinag-usapan ito, among us doctors, yung mga surgeons, admittedly, mas mataas talaga yung kanilang singil kasi meron silang ginagawang procedure kumpara sa amin na mga internists. Kami mga internal medicine doctors naman na walang ginawang procedure sa pasyente, relatively mas mura ang sinisingil.
Kasi Doc, medyo yung context of the whole situation medyo hindi pa clear, no? I'd like to ask, let's say, for a surgeon, pag naniningil siya ng PF, is it usually, or for doctors in general, based on a per clinic visit, or kunyari may surgery siyang ginawa ay meron siyang post-op care na ginagawa, naka-package na ba yan?
Usually, meron tinatawag na package at meron silang tinatawag na yung unit value. Mas klaro ito sa mga surgeon kasi ang bawat surgical procedure ngayon, meron ng tinatawag sila na unit value na ito yung pinaka-standard procedure or standard value na sinisingil ng isang surgeon. And that is hindi ibig sabihin ito lamang yung sisingilin. Sometimes merong karagdagan, depende kung may additional procedure pa na ginawa or depende kung saan din ginawa yung setting. Ito ba ay sa isang government setting or ito ba ay nasa isang private setting? At syempre, nandun din ito sa pag-uusap din noong doctor tsaka patient even before they got admitted or even before the procedure was done. Usually yan, merong pag-uusap na nangyayari, dinidiscuss ng doktor, ito po yung gagawin ko sa inyong procedure, ganito po yung kadami ng mga doktor na mag-a-assist sa akin, I will be getting an anesthesiologist, we will also have some assist here, at syempre po pati yung mga OR o yung operating room, meron din pong bayad yan, pati po yung gamit. So, all of these are usually discussed with the patient and once nakapag-usap po sila at nag-agree yung both parties, then that is considered to be yung tinatawag po nating relationship between the doctor and the patient.
Pero I was wondering, Doc, kung meron po kayong information regarding this whole incident, yung mga allegations po made by Ramon Tulfo, para po mas maliwanag po para sa atin mapag-usapan ito.
Unfortunately, kami po kasi ay sa mga internist, kasi po ang the one that was involved is a surgeon, doon po sa ating ina-allege po ni Mr. Tulfo, and therefore and hindi rin po siya po ay connected sa isang institution, no, sa I believe sa Philippine Heart
Heart
Center.
Center.
So ang meron pong ginawang investigation or at least nag-interview po diyan si Dr. Hector Santos, yun pong president ng Philippine Medical Association. Unfortunately, ako po mismo hindi ko po nakausap in person yung pong doctor involved. So pagdating po sa detalye, it will be unfair if I will share details na hindi ko rin po verified.
So kasi based on what you're saying, Doc, no, before, and ako alam ko rin yan because pag-uusapan natin kung may treatment plan, how much will I spend, and then usually, let's say in this case, no, if nagkakaroon ng additional na pagbabayad na kailangan at hindi magka-agreement ang doctor and patient, pero sinimulan na ng surgeon at post-op care na ito, ano option ngayon ng isang pasyente? Can they transfer to another surgeon kahit hindi kaso ng pangalawang surgeon na sasalo?
Mahirap po yun kasi unang-una kapag po, lalo na po kung surgical procedure ito, alam naman po natin na ang surgery is really expertise-based. So kumbaga po, kung gaano ka maganda yung kasanayan ng surgeon. And particularly po, among the surgeons ngayon, may kanya-kanya na po silang specialty. Kumbaga may bahagi ng katawan na ang surgeon na ito expert sa neck. May isang doktor ng surgeon, ang expertise niya po dito sa may tiyan. Meron din naman po tayong ibang bahagi. And so, hindi ka po pwedeng basta lumipat lang from one surgeon to the other because the expertise also change.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Nemesio Nicodemus Jr., President of the Philippine College of Physicians. We hopefully to invite you again on a different topic. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Siguro we should also talk to yung Philippine Medical Association and yung association ng mga surgeons to get a clearer picture kasi hindi malinaw yung context na nangyari. We need to know both sides kung ano yung nangyari.
Totoo. Kasi sinasabi ni Ramon Tulfo, nakakausap niya yung mismong anak ng patient. Talagang dinidiin nga na yun yung nangyari. So parang apparently they got guarantee letter, tapos malasakit center, ganyan. Ended up the bill 139,000 so they had to pay more. Dahil more than 139 kasi yun. Okay. Alright, in other news, Malacanang is calling on those with knowledge about corruption and flood control efforts to come forward and help in the investigation. Here's a report.
Malacanang has made it clear the investigation into alleged corruption involving flood control projects is not a witch hunt. This statement follows allegation from Senator Ping Lacson and Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong that 67 congressmen are receiving kickbacks from these projects. Magalong also revealed that those involved share best practices on how to steal from public funds.
Alam mo, nag-share pa nga sila ng best practice pag nag-usap-usap yung mga yan. Ganito kasi ang gawin mo.
In response, Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Angelo Castro challenged anyone with specific names or evidence to come forward and report directly to the President. She emphasized that providing complete details will help speed up investigations.
Idiretso na po nila to sa Pangulo kung meron silang particular na pangalan na alam at para po mas mabilis ang pag-iimbestiga. Welcome po lahat yan. At bigyan lang po nila ng kompletong detalye.
The Sumbong sa Pangulo website. This platform features a comprehensive list of flood control projects, allowing the public to monitor and provide feedback on government-funded infrastructure in their communities. There is no deadline for submitting complaints, but the palace urges everyone to take this process seriously.
The camp of Vice President Sara Duterte says they are prepared to face any proceedings in the impeachment case, including oral arguments if required by the Supreme Court. Here's the report.
The camp of Vice President Sara Duterte said it is too soon to call the Supreme Court's ruling a victory. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Attorney Michael Poa, spokesperson for the Vice President's defense team, explained that the impeachment case remains pending because of the motion for reconsideration filed by the House of Representatives.
Sa atin, I guess we consider it as an affirmation of our position, that the defense position all along, nung Pebrero pa lang, na unconstitutional itong articles of impeachment. I guess that's the best way to characterize what we consider the Supreme Court decision to be.
POA also confirmed they have received the court's order to comment on the motion. The Vice President has 10 days to file her comment.
We have been working on the comment, so kung hindi naman kailangan tapusin yung 10 days, hindi naman na natin tatapusin yung 10 days. As long as we're comfortable already with the comment that we have, we will file our comment. But definitely within the period provided.
In a separate interview with One News's The Big Story, POA stressed that if required by the High Court, VP Sara is ready for any proceedings, including oral arguments, but noted that the defense will continue to challenge what they view as an unconstitutional impeachment process.
And definitely, we'll just abide by whatever the court orders us to do. If it's oral arguments, we're okay with it. If wala man and it's just by pleadings, we're also ready for that.
Don't go away. We're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. About 11.9 million Filipino families consider themselves poor in July, according to the latest survey by Okta Research. This marks an increase from 11.1 million families in April, with self-rated poverty rising from 42% to 45%. Now, only 16% of respondents said their families were not poor, while 39% were undecided. Poverty is highest in Mindanao at 63%, followed by the Visayas at 59%, balanced Luzon at 37%, and Metro Manila at 23%. The survey also showed food poverty rising to 43% in July, meaning many families struggle to afford enough healthy food. This is up from 35% in April. Despite higher food poverty, the overall hunger rate remains at 13%. The survey was conducted from July 12 to 17 with 1,200 respondents.
And to tell us more about these numbers, we have Okta Research Fellow Dr. Guido David joining us today. Good morning, Prof. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, good morning, Jago and Angela, and sa mga viewers and listeners.
Wait, before we before we ask you your first question, I'd like to lay in context. Ano ba yung
yun nga din eh.
Rini-refute kasi ito ni Secretary Gadon at sinasabi niya pag ini-interview nito sa survey, pakiramdam ng isang tao, wala lang akong iPhone, puro na ako eh. So yan ang sinabi.
Paano ba yung questioning?
Oo, yung mode of questioning.
Well, that's a very valid point. And of course, ano naman to this is, again, self-assessment yung ginawa natin. And, it's different from, kunyari, yung Philippine Statistics Authority, which classifies poverty according to income, which is fair naman. Pero yung ginagawa natin, since we're just serving a sample of the population, ang tinatanong natin if sa perception nila, parang self-assessment nga, if sa tingin nila poor sila. And yes, you could argue that na baka may mga nagsasabing ganon, but I think medyo mas realistic naman din naman yung assessment ng mga natin, ng mga kababayan natin. And just to go over yung difference na kunyari sa PSA dated. I mean, if it's purely income-based, then siguro sasabihin natin lahat ng ABC ay hindi poor. Pero sa self-rated poverty natin, there's 11% sa socio-economic class ABC who say they're poor. And that's fair naman. Baka naman tingin nila kahit na they have a sufficient income compared to other groups, baka marami silang sinusuportahan, maraming binabayaran. I don't think naman na kung wala silang iPhone, ay poor na sila. Pero on the other hand naman, on the flip side, sa socio-economic class E, for example, na lowest socio-economic class, ay may 2% na nagsasabing they're not poor. So, again, baka kunyari, single sila, wala silang sinusuportahan, walang dependents, and they feel na nakakain naman sila. I think that's a fair assessment. So, yun nga, the question is, so tinanong natin if they consider themselves poor or not.
Okay. So, pero kasi nakikita pa rin natin, no, actually, yung pinopoint out ni Secretary on Poverty Alleviation na survey ay dun sa SWS, no? Pero sa inyo, dito sa Okta, the same din halos na nakikita natin na remains yung poverty or yung hunger issue sa Mindanao and Visayas.
Remains high.
Oo, remains high. So,
Right.
I was wondering, ano yung nakikita nating factors that contribute to higher poverty rates pa rin sa Visayas and Mindanao?
And that's a very good point, Angela and Diego, na yun nga, although the actual numbers, we may have differing opinions sa actual numbers compared to other surveys or sa PSA. Yung relative numbers, yun yung mahalagang tingnan natin. And why is it higher sa Visayas and Mindanao? Of course, sa survey, we don't flesh out kung ano yung specifics kung bakit nila nasabi to. Pero one clue is dahil dalawang tinan natin, self-rated poverty tsaka yung food poverty.
Yun,
And those are highly correlated. Ibig sabihin, when they say parang they consider themselves poor, usually correlated din with them considering themselves food
poverty.
poor. Yung
Food
food
poor.
poverty. And yung food poverty refers to situations where individuals and households struggle to secure a sufficient and healthy diet. So kung magkakasama na nito yung involuntary hunger, or kung nakakain man sila, baka hindi kompleto, baka baka mga instant yung mga instant food lang na hindi gano'n ka healthy, na okay lang pagsamantala but not very healthy. Pero regarding the question, I think and it continues to remain na NCR has the lowest incidence of poverty, 23%, followed by Balance Luzon, 37%, and highest nga siya sa Mindanao, 63%. To be fair, bumaba na siya actually. It was yung 63% na yan, I mean, there was a time na nasa around 70% sa Mindanao.
So may
It was really
improvement
high.
na.
So I think they have a lot of challenges sa Mindanao. Can say about yung weather situation doon. Yeah, but I think yung mga controlled na more or less yung mga insurgents doon. But I think the presence of insurgents before medyo affected yung economy nila. And some of these other factors. Sa Visayas din, syempre may mga areas na sometimes affected by storms,
calamities or
by
Prof, I'd like to
droughts,
ask about yung relation between yung food poverty and overall poverty. Does it follow that a majority of those who consider themselves poor in general, a lot of them come from those who think they are also within the food poverty sphere?
Yes, I think so. That's the correlation that we're seeing because poverty is at 45% and food poverty is at 43%. So magkalapit lang yung numbers actually. More or less, I think yun yung tinitingnan din ng mga kababayan natin. Kung hindi sila makakain ng sapat, then they consider themselves food poor, and ergo they also consider themselves poor.
So in essence,
yes.
So in essence, Prof, if I were in the government, I'd like to improve itong the way people perceive themselves as poor. Then I'd first address the problem of food security.
Of course, yes. And although to be fair, the president has kept his promise to lower the price of yung bigas is now they can purchase it at 20 pesos. Pero syempre, marami pa tayong ibang challenges. The president also mentioned yung zero balancing sa DOH accredited hospitals for patients. So those will help kasi yung health expenses is isa sa mga major expenses natin aside from education. Pero food security should be addressed. Prices of goods, maybe more assistance sa mga natin, sa mga farmers natin, sa agricultural sector natin, and I have high hopes that our senator who will be handling that sa agriculture will be able to help in this regard. So And yung to be fair, yung inflation natin has already stabilized. Pero of course, tumaas siya ng malaki nung the past few years because of the wars in other countries. So we're still trying to keep up with the inflation. So although nag-stabilize na siya, syempre marami pa rin sa mga kababayan natin yung nakakaranas ng kumaga, hindi pa nagtutugma yung natin. Yung
Still a lot of work.
Kinikita.
Yes. Totoo yan.
Still a lot
Kasi
of
dami
work.
nagtatanong, gumanda daw yung GDP. Pero ang dami
Takes
pa rin,
time. We all know
dami pa rin nagugutom.
Economists will know it takes time. But so much to talk about, so little time. But we hope to have you back again. Thank you, Octa Research Fellow, Dr. Guido David, for joining us once again.
Thank you and good morning.
Now let's talk about weather. Pag-asa continues to monitor Typhoon Goryo northeast of Itbayat, Batanes. Due to the typhoon's proximity, Batanes is experiencing rains with gusty winds. Meanwhile, the provinces of Ilocos Norte, Apayao, and Cagayan can expect cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms caused by Goryo. The southwest monsoon is also affecting several regions, including Mimaropa, Western Visayas, Negros Island region, Zamboanga Peninsula, BARMM, Soxargen, and parts of Bicol. These areas may experience cloudy skies and scattered rains. Metro Manila and the rest of the country may also expect isolated rain showers due to localized thunderstorms.
In sports, the PLDT high-speed hitters pulled off a thrilling upset, defeating the Creamline Cool Smashers in a grueling 5-set match to secure their spot in the 2025 PVL On Tour Finals. Savvy Davison led the charge with 34 points, backed by Kim Fajardo's 25 excellent assists and Kath Arado's stellar defense. Meanwhile, the Cherry Tigo crossovers advanced to the finals after a 4-set victory over the Signal HD Spikers. Jasmine Nabor orchestrated the offense with 21 sets, while Ara Galang and Ces Robles each contributed 15 points. PLDT and Cherry Tigo will face off in a one-game finale on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Creamline and Signal will battle for bronze at 4 p.m. And before we let you go, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote of the day. Respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. A quote from Lawrence Stern. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angelo Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.